I'm here for the PlayStation 2, the best entertainment system to hit the world.
We're just moments away from midnight, November 9th, and the launch of what is perhaps one of the most anticipated console video games of all time.
Midnight releases were something very special in gaming. It's a magical experience that, fun fact, I never got to experience firsthand because I was actually released in 2007, so I was too young to ever experience it. So now I'm making a video on this topic to cope with that fact. Any two. Simply put, midnight releases are very dead now. Midnight releases are usually no longer a thing, or when they are a thing, no one really turns up. But back in the day, midnight releases used to be big. Toys R Us Halo 3 launch in New York City. This was insane for a video game launch, not even a console launch. Like this guy right here said he flew out from Chicago to New York just to be here. That's some dedication. That just shows people didn't turn up to these just for the game. People turned up to these for the social aspect, for the it's an excuse to touch grass. It's awesome. No, it wasn't just like this in New York City. Midnight releases were a phenomenon across the world. In Seattle, there was a huge crowd waiting outside of Best Buy for Halo 3. Bill Gates was there for some reason. He just started walking out and shaking people's hands. The GTA 5 launch was also insane. Hundreds of thousands of people across the world were lining outside of stores and GameStops waiting for one of the most successful games of all time. And I finally remember being at the mall when the game launched. It was like 9 p.m. because I live on the West Coast, and my brother slipped off to go pick up the game. And I didn't really care at the time because I was like 6. I was playing Mario and Little Big Planet. I couldn't care less about GTA. And don't even get me started in the old COD launches. They used to be actual live performances by trained actors. In MW2, they had people dressed up as military going into a GameStop and securing a fucking hostage while people watched. They literally threw a flashbang. I'm pretty sure they did more little things like this for COD, but that's the craziest one to my knowledge. Best Buy in New York City had a live performance for Gears of War 3. People went for a video game and instead got a concert. All right, I'm going a little too fast. Let's calm down. Mario Odyssey at the Nintendo store in New York City. This was an insane midnight release. There were hundreds, if not thousands of people lined up for this game. Heads of Nintendo were there. Reggie was just like chilling, playing the game. This man, Captain Nintendo dude, CND, spent one whole week lined up outside documenting everything. And I want you to keep in mind, these were video game launches, not consoles. Stock was not running low on these. These were being mass produced. The game was only half the reason people came here. The other half was for the thrill of it, just being with people that care about the same thing you do. When you look back at these news reports and these clips, it looks like a hell of a time. And speaking of console launches, consoles most of the time are released in the winter season in time for Christmas. Everybody would be lined up at midnight waiting in the freezing cold to get their hands on the new console. And watching the news report videos and stuff, and just like the old camcorder footage, it's such a vibe because you're literally looking into like a different time, a different lifestyle. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy's high out of his mind. But sometimes it wasn't like all awesome because for the PS3, some gun violence happened. That's crazy, especially for a launch PS3 because it kind of sucked. The only console launch I could say I have a connection with is the Switch one because of this man, Captain Nintendo dude. He literally spent a whole month documenting and staying in line outside the Nintendo store just because he can. The only reason I have a connection to this in specific is because I was watching these videos as they were coming out, and it was such a hyped up experience seeing it every day until it came out. And the day it actually dropped was insane. So many people were waiting outside that store for the Switch. Midnight releases were not only a way to get a game or a console, they were social events, live performances, but after the last console generation, they aren't anywhere as near as common as they once were. The Switch was the last console that comes to my head that had a midnight release with this much energy around it, and there's two reasons for this. In the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, they introduced the ability to download media straight from the internet to your console, no touching grass needed. And that included full AAA video games. But I'm pretty sure the original intention behind the PS3 store and the Xbox store was to download DLC and demos for games. And my reasoning for this is because it wasn't till very late in the console generation where based hard drives had the storage capacity to download full AAA video games. But then the PS4 and Xbox One came around and digital media started to rise, with people having more than 2 bytes on the console storage. They could finally download the new COD. What? It did take up more space, but it was just easier and in most cases faster to go to the console store, put in your card details, and just let it download. But midnight releases were still there, but just getting less and less attention. Usually there was at least a couple of people lined up for game releases, but they were slowly getting smaller and smaller because people would just download the games. And then the big 2020 happened. The pandemic absolutely murdered midnight releases. It changed a lot of habits for people. Instead of picking up food, just order it from home. Instead of meeting up with friends, just get in a call with them. Instead of going out at midnight for a video game to play it as early as you can, just buy it online. And even with the social distancing mandate completely gone and the pandemic not being that big of a deal anymore, people still carry these habits in their everyday life. I know I became extremely heavy on just buying games digitally. Like, the only physical game I have past 2019 is the Avengers game on Xbox One. This was released 4 years ago, and this game is complete dog shit, by the way. I never finished it. And it wasn't only like this with games either. The newest console generation came out at the peak of the pandemic when social distancing was mandatory. So the PS5 and Xbox Series, whatever, didn't have anywhere near this kind of energy. It was more like empty, dead, and depressing. Almost like a liminal space. And consoles have fully embraced the digital age. The PS5 and Xbox Series, launched with versions that were exclusively digital for a cheaper price. I know I bought a digital PS5 because it's literally the same exact console. Why would I spend $100 more on a disc drive? The smart decision in my head when I bought it was, okay, I'm going to save $100 on buying the digital version and then buy games to play on the PS5. Also, there literally isn't a version of the PS5 Pro that has a disc drive built in. $80? This is more than the game! GameStop specifically have tried to bring back the midnight release. The most recent that comes to my mind is BO6, and no one turned up. There's no long lines or hype. It's not what it used to be anymore. People would just rather pre-download the game and play it the second it hits 12. And honestly, that's just the way it is now. And sometimes video games don't even release at the same time for everybody. Silent Hill 2, for example, I love this game, but it's a horrible business practice. The release date says the 8th. But you can get the super cool, awesome, premium Epic Sauce Digital Deluxe Edition for $10 more and play it on the 6th. So no, it doesn't actually come out on the 8th. It just comes out on the 6th, but you're upcharging the game. It is in early access. The game releases on the 6th. You're just selling the game early. And honestly, I think this is such a bad move for consumers because it divides everybody. I think what makes a game release so hyped is the mass public all getting the game at the same time, 12 o'clock, and everybody just starting the game at the same time. If you remove that aspect, there's a good majority of people that bought the game physically but can't play it when it comes out. Or there's people that bought it digitally for the quote-unquote early access, and now they're skipping out on the midnight release because they have it digitally. So the midnight release is completely gone. Alright, thanks for watching. This video was kind of a stray away from like the kind of stuff I want to do. This video just kind of popped in my head to make, and then I wrote a script within like one night, and I finished the voiceover within the same night. I just think this video is like lower quality. Maybe it's a little bit sloppy. I don't know. It might be lower quality than my last one. The last one has like a horror story behind it that I don't even want to talk about right now, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for listening to me yap. If you guys are returning from my last video, please don't unsubscribe because I know this video is very different. My future ideas are a lot more in line with what last video kind of was, just like editing and everything. The reason the editing I feel is sloppy in this video is because I feel like the idea is just not really like editable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's only so much you can do with just clips of midnight releases. But with the future video ideas I have better ideas. I have better ideas for the editing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I promise I have better videos coming out. I know this is slop, but I have better ideas. Just give me a month or two. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon.